I'm Kevin Van Ord, and I am sitting here with two very fine gentlemen. I say that because they told me that they were nice people, and so I said, "Come on up, show us your game."
I tell everyone I'm nice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not necessarily
I
true.
actually believe you right
do?
now. Yeah, I totally do.
Sucker.
So, Larry and Simon, you're with Trion Worlds,
Yes.
and
Yes.
well, why don't you tell everybody what you do first of all before we move on?
Hi everybody, I am Simon Finch. I'm the design director for Rift.
And I'm Larry Bowles. I'm one of the dungeon designers also for Rift.
And you might be saying, why are you playing Rift, Kevin? That game's been out for a while. But, MMOs, we know they change, they evolve, they grow, they come with new content. And it just so happens today, on Wednesday, you have new content that went live.
We have. We just released 2.4, which is our latest update. And for anybody that's been playing Rift for any length of time, they'll know that our updates tend to be huge. This is no exception. We call this the update of instances. There's an instance to suit pretty much every type of player. We have two-man Chronicles, which we're going to be showing today. We have 5-man dungeon and 2 20-man raids, although only one of the raids opened up today. We're gonna people need to get into that one, beat that one, and the next one will be coming in a couple of weeks.
So you had a lot of stuff going on.
That's the main focus, but there's also a whole lot of other stuff that goes around that. There's a lot more things on our store now, and we can show some of that stuff too. Lots of fun toys. Instant adventure, which is one of the features of Rift, which just allows you to jump in and play with some friends instantly, do some small targets, is now all working cross-shard as well on the side as well, so that's pretty cool.
All right, so people are already in the Twitch chat pointing out the hat. So I just want to say, nice hat.
Thank you.
Everybody
Zoom in on the
appreciates
hat.
the hat.
Let's have a look at the hat. That is actually from the Gothic costume. We have a whole ton of amazing costumes on our store. The players mix and match most of the pieces. I would like to say all of them, but I'm sure we've probably missed one or two here and there. Most of the pieces can all be dyed as well, 2 different channels of dye, so our players have made some really incredible combinations. There's actually a thread on our forums where they show off just amazing looking costumes.
So we're in. Well, tell us about this area. Get me up to speed on what's going on in the game narrative, why I'm here, what's this area, and because I don't know. I haven't played Rift for a while.
I'll give a high level of what Chronicles are, and then I'll hand it over to Larry for the details here. So Chronicles was something we introduced, I don't know, a year and a half ago, maybe something like that. Which actually was requested by our players, which was, hey, I often don't have time to get into a group with 5 other people and stuff like that. I'd love to be able to, if I'm a real badass, I'd like to be able to solo one of these dungeons, or maybe just go in with my buddy or my significant other or something like that. So that's what Chronicles are. They are designed for 2 players. They're balanced for 2 players, but we do have well-geared solo players that go in and do them solo, which Larry is actually demonstrating here today with his completely uncheating character.
Completely.
Totally legit. But so they are 2-player dungeons, basically, and what it allows us to do is tell other stories in the dungeon, or maybe just give people that don't get to go on some of the raids, the really high-end stuff, to see some of the amazing content that's in the game. So that's an example of what we're seeing here. This is actually a 2-person retelling of the story of Lathis, who is one of the dragons of Rift, and this is Infernal Dawn, which was a 20-man raid where the players actually got to confront Lathis and another dragon, but in this one it's just Lathis, and kill her, I guess. And this is where you and a buddy get to basically try your hand at that as well.
You get to relive all the experiences, or at least half of the experience of the raid, with just you and a friend.
So if you are watching and you're in the Twitch chat, definitely feel free to ask any questions you have about Rift, about the 2.4 update in general, and we'll try to cover as much as we can. It's worth pointing out that you guys are on a live server. You're not on, if I recall correctly.
We're on this is a live server.
So
this went live this morning.
So this is...
In fact, Larry is probably about to die.
Oh, no.
Larry can't die.
No, it's impossible.
Yes. Yeah, no,
Nope.
it's not possible.
Nope.
It's not impossible.
Nope.
Oh, he's hanging on with
It's
some slight cheat. So this is the first
a
boss.
slight cheat.
Slight.
Just a slight cheat.
Yeah, that's why we're in an instance doing this, because we are on a live server. We did contemplate showing you guys a 5-man dungeon, but we would have had to take 4 unsuspecting live players in with us, and that probably would have been unfair to them. So Larry, why don't you tell us what's going on in this first boss here?
Sure. So just like in Infernal Dawn, we brought back some of the classic bosses that people enjoyed of that instance. This first boss you're going to be fighting is Maclamosis Scryer. He was the second or third, depending on the way you handled it, boss of the original instance. This guy has a bunch of interesting little mechanics I'm completely failing at. That's why I'm using my slightly overpowered character to show you guys today. This guy will throw bombs at you, and he gives you a little warning, and they're all color-coded, and you're having to run to these also color-coded crystals around the room to block it, and all sorts of other little interesting things. He also activates a couple ads around the room that you have to burn down really quick, and it's a whole lot of fun when you have enough people for it.
So a couple questions coming in. First of all, do you need to be level 60 to access the 2-man content? Because Chalks 3000 is still leveling with his friend, but he's obviously really interested in what he's seeing.
Okay, a couple of things. First,
Sure.
I want to point out, you can't actually pin your health higher than that, can you? Because you're so nearly dead that it's actually giving you this slight grey screen, and
Right.
you can't see the
Right.
colours.
I'll try to heal myself up a little faster.
Okay. Yes and no is the answer to your question. We do have, Chronicles actually start at level 50. You get introduced to some specifically solo Chronicles that introduces you to the concept of Chronicles in the first place, and also introduces you to another thing in the game called planar power, which is a whole new planar augments, which is a whole different leveling path. Which we had before we raised the level cap to 60. So there are a bunch of level 50 Chronicles, but all of the ones that have been done since the expansion that raised the level cap to 60 are all level 60. So there are level 50, and then there are level 60. So
Okay.
there are 2. You don't have to be level 60 to experience your first one, but most of the more recent ones, this one is level 60.
Now, somebody asking, this is a good chance to talk about raids, because somebody is asking about, Rostolicious in particular is asking about the raids, because he wants to know how they compare to Storm Legion's raids in terms of the difficulty. Would you say them, tell me about them. Are they harder? Are they easier? Where do they fall in the scheme of Rift?
So the raids that we're doing we organized into tiers, and we had the original Storm Legion launch was our tier 1 of the expansion. That's pretty much an intro into raiding, first level of difficulty. Our next layer of difficulty we added with here recently in our last patch, which was Grim Awakening. It was a 10-man instance. That one was meant to be our first tier 2 raid. That raid was a little tougher than normal, took a little more concentration and effort, and the raids that we have coming up in 2.4 are going to be just in that same mean, about the same difficulty, a little bit higher. We have our one that went into this patch initially is the Infinity Gate. It's got 3 bosses, 2 of which you can do either one first. Those bosses are meant to be kind of easier, but not complete pushovers. They're our intro into this patch's raiding, and here in a couple weeks we're going to release Planebreaker Bastion. That's going to be our capstone raid for the patch, and it's going to require a pretty well coordinated group of 20 people to be able to handle doing it.
So tough. Is the short answer.
Tough is the short answer.
Yes.
So it looks like you've now, with completely legitimately
Totally
taken care of
legit,
Maclamos.
We don't have as many cheats as we normally have because we are playing on a live server here, and we don't have our dev client with us. So it was half legit.
A little.
You can't actually pin your health. Oh, okay, right. We're going to be seeing a lot of grey, which is a little shame.
That's all right though. We can
Yeah.
in between at least we'll see some color. It is a shame because Rift is a very colorful game. Obviously,
It is. The reason that's happening is anyone who plays the game knows this, but anyone who doesn't, as your health gets close, I believe it's like about 5-10% of your health. You start getting a warning that you're about to die. The screen starts going sort of like grayscale. So
Right,
when Larry has right now, we do have a cheat that is preventing him from actually dying, but it doesn't prevent him from being hurt. So we spend our whole time at 1% health. or
I
something.
try my hardest to keep myself alive as long as I can.
So Dandero Zero is asking about your particular character build because he's like, is he tank and playing Valadin and Void Knight and Sultry? Is that what you're doing?
So, for those interested, we're using
And
one of
I'm
the-
interested. So.
We're using one of the Seraphic Guard presets with a couple minor alterations just to give me a little more DPS. But I mostly did this build for survivability, so we'll spend less time staring at the gray screen, if at all possible.
Oh, shiny.
Gotta go for it.
Gotta go for shiny. Cannot leave shinies behind. We'll talk about shinies in a minute. So, sorry, Larry.
That's
yeah.
all right. We're easily distracted by things that glow.
We are.
So
Pick
pardon
that
us
up.
while we.
Yes.
So yeah, we're just running through here. We've killed the first boss. Now we're heading up to the, as players might remember it, the Dock of the Dread Fortune.
Now, what are some of the other instances people will remember from days gone by that you're now going to be able to two-man?
Well, some of the first Chronicles we put out, one of them was Greenscale's Blight. So, player and a friend or a powerful solo player can go and take on Greenscale. There is also a portion of Hamanel, although it takes place in Hamanel, and you encounter some
We're totally
of
gonna
the
cheat through this. Just warning you.
some of the dungeons of Hamanel actually tells a different story, so it's not just a sort of... Most of these aren't just dumbed down versions of the raid, they are kind of re-scripted and redone so that they work well for two players. It's not like we just nerfed what we'd done before and say,
Right.
yeah, take that. They actually, quite a lot more care goes into them than that. So those are the two main ones, I believe. Am I missing any? There's a lot of others that are just unique as well, that are not
Yeah.
particularly remade content. They were just, people like two-man dungeons, so we do a mix of completely new content versus retellings of older content. So I think that we're up to 3 of the... No, we've actually only done 2 of the dragons so far, right? I do know that... the guy who did this one, which in the raid version of Infernal Dawn, you get to encounter Lathis and Malforge, which are the Dragon of Earth and the Dragon of Fire. In this chronicle, you only encounter Lathis, and we will probably at a future date release another chronicle that takes place in a different part of Infernal Dawn, where you'll get to encounter Malforge. But that's for the future.
Good. Those dread long shots hurt.
Heal.
So when you're normally running this instance, you want to have a really good healer to deal with those, because when you have 2 of them snipe you at once, ouch.
Now I know you guys introduced, you introduced like, player spaces not so long ago. Yeah, and so I'm curious, how has that turned out? Have you been slowly adding things that people can use to decorate their space and make it more their own? And how's that in general? How's that been going?
That's amazing. We can do a little bit of dimension roulette, as we call it, after this. But and yes, we have certainly been adding to it. Actually, I wouldn't say slowly. We've been adding a lot of stuff since it first came out. There are some amazing websites where you can see what some of our players have made. I've always known that our players were an incredibly creative bunch. But some of the things I've seen in Dimensions are absolutely fabulous. For those people that don't know, Dimensions are kind of Rift's take on housing. Although rather than just being given a little room where you can hang a few trophies, they range from enormous areas of the game where you get your own instance of it that maybe do have some buildings on it, or maybe it's just pretty much a clean slate, and you have a ton of different objects that you can place, scale, move, rotate. There's a pretty robust little tool set that goes along with it, and players do what they call morphing. They take objects and they use them in ways that were not intended originally to get the effects they want, and it's incredible what they've made. The only way to really explain it is to maybe go and have a look at a couple after we have finished grayscaling our way through this.
That actually
Chronicle.
would be a lot of fun. And actually, apparently, did you know that you could be a Jeff Bridges impersonator?
I could.
Yes, apparently.
I wish I made half as
yeah.
much money as Jeff Bridges, but yeah.
So people
It's really good. Okay.
that are interested in...
But Jeff Bridges didn't have an English accent last
No,
time,
but that's
so
okay.
That's all right. So I'm an English Jeff Bridges, right?
With some healing grog.
I do like this particular fight that Larry is starting up here. I do love
There
this
we
one.
go.
This just progressively gets crazier and crazier as more stuff happens. And the ship itself, which is kind of like a ghost ship that is running past right there, is like the heart of the ship, actually starts attacking you itself as well as all of the mobs on the deck. So you'll start seeing.
And pro
crazy
tip,
stuff happening.
if you do not kill everything, they will all come after you at once. So you definitely want to clear this thing first.
So, it's interesting. Captain Judaism wants to know about can he get a dimension and make it a seaside retreat on the beach?
Totally.
Just how flexible is that stuff? I guess we'll get an idea
We
soon.
will. We'll go and have a
But-
look at Dimensions afterwards. I mean, they are. Yes, is the short answer to that. Absolutely. One of the things that I really enjoyed in Dimensions is play. And we long before we actually decided to turn off fall damage altogether, we had fall damage disabled in Dimensions, so you couldn't actually hurt yourself inside your dimension. And players discovered that they could, if they got the angle of objects that they put in their dimension right, they could make these crazy slides. There were some amazing slides and jump puzzles and various other things, as well as just the purely decorative, beautiful play spaces that some people have made.
So how confrontational can I be with you guys? I'm curious.
Go.
Like,
go.
okay,
I mean,
you
you can ask me anything. I might not answer.
You might not answer. So you get somebody. Let's say you get somebody, and I'm an MMO player, so I see this all the time. So right.
Sure.
So what do you say to somebody that says, for example, your game's just like World of Warcraft, or what makes this any different from any other copy paste, massively
Right.
multiplayer RPG? So. Obviously your jobs are just, obviously you love your game and you're going to want to sell your game, but
Right. Okay,
beyond
so,
that, just,
I'll
level
be-
with me.
okay,
as much
I'll-
as you can level with me, I guess.
Hey, I'm going to be completely honest here and just tell you my personal feeling about this whole thing. Okay, I'm not particularly representing Trion here or anything like that, although obviously I am. But no. The thing is, way back when we were first developing this, there was this kind of philosophy of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, if you're going to put a bank in your game, which you need, why reinvent the bank just because you want to be different? That's just dumb. People know what a bank's supposed to be like. They know how a bank's supposed to operate. Just make it work that way. People are used to it, which is pretty much the attitude we took with most of the sort of like standard systems that are in pretty much any MMO of this type that you pick up. We wanted to make sure that it felt familiar
close
the
to the
moment you
fire.
sat down and played it. It's like, oh, I recognize this. I know how to get around this. And then we start putting in the stuff that I think is where Rift really innovates. So we saw the Soul system there a second ago, which is just beyond anything done in any other games anywhere. You can the combinations and the subtlety of the character that you can make is just. I don't know what the math is these days. Have you any idea, Larry? It's just like hundreds and hundreds of possible
there's
combinations.
ridiculous amount of combinations to get exactly something made for you.
So you can absolutely make your character play how you want it to feel. It's amazing. And what I found with that also is like after a while, if you get tired with the way your character is playing, you can roll up a new combination of souls, and it feels like a completely different game all of a sudden. I did that quite recently on my live character. And then the other thing is the rifts and the dynamic content also. So Rift truly is a very dynamic world out in the open, not in the instances here. I mean, in the instances, in pretty much most games, you get to do anything you like, but we do that out in the open world as well. We have open world zone events that fire off, and you may have remembered this from when you were playing way back. Just suddenly all hell breaks loose in a zone, and it takes everybody in the zone to come together to defeat some objectives or a big boss or something. So it's really in the content and the way it is delivered, the dynamic events, the soul system. Those are the two things that really set Rift apart. We have continued to innovate and focus on those areas. But if it's a system that we know we need in the game, why make it work differently than what people are used to just for the sake of working differently? I think that's a mistake. So people will feel comfortable and familiar the moment they sit down and play, and then they can really get to enjoy what is unique about Rift. Is that?
It works for me. Works for me. And somebody asking, is 2.4 live already? And yes.
This morning.
Yeah, so this is a public server. Actually, not that there's not a little cheating going
on.
on.
Just one sort of half cheat, which is it just stops you from actually dying. It doesn't stop you from
taking damage. You still you get hurt. It's just that you're forever hurt.
Right.
Begging to die.
I'm gonna
Larry, please just kill me now.
Yes. So we're here almost to the final boss, Lathis. Raiders would fondly remember her fight. This instance actually has, before every boss fight, the Soul Communicator here, which has some of your friends back at the start will give you a little message, and they'll actually describe some of the various abilities the boss will do. So it'll actually give you a little heads up if you're not familiar with the fight. And we also have a little thing over here, which I already hit, which gives you an optional hard mode version for extra reward.
You hit the hard mode?
Yes.
Oh, we're going to be seeing a lot of grey.
Oh, a lot. But for shinies.
More shinies.
Yay.
All right, I'm ready to see the...
Lathis is,
she's probably one of the best looking monsters in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's lovely.
So her fight's very similar for those who may have done the original fight. She uses a lot of the same attacks, just on a smaller scale. So she'll be hitting you a lot. She'll do her famous ground phase. Give a little way of interrupting here. You have to dodge out of her breath.
Does she do the rear guard in this stage as well?
No, she does. She brings up extra guys in her later phase when she's in the ground, and if you try to cheat, even worse than I am, and get behind her, she will spawn an ad who will just decimate you. So I'm gonna go ahead and progress the fight a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You should have given.
How dare you scuff my beautiful form?
Should have given you some.
She's pretty vain for a dragon.
She is. Well, I mean, she. One of the things, sort of like the lore of Rift, is about the planes of power. There were 6 planes: death, life, and then the classic earth, air, water, and fire. Mm-hmm. But each of the planes is about more than just that element. Water, for instance, is also about dreams and madness. Earth, which is this one, is also about avarice and, as you can see, gold. So Lathis has spent a lifetime collecting a massive fortune here, so much so that it has pretty much infused her being. She is made out of the stuff, basically. So yeah, don't take her shinies. What did you do?
I think I may have made her a little angry. I think she ran away.
Oh my.
So we're just going to go ahead and hop out here real quick so we can get back into it.
Sure.
Well, I don't know how we are for time. If we want to see some,
we're doing fine.
Okay. Well, then we'll continue here. And
if only there was a way I could see what time it was.
What magic?
We got time.
Okay,
yeah,
fine.
we got time. Yeah,
No, I just did- I
absolutely.
did-
I'm not
you asked
rushing you
about-
guys out.
No, you asked about dimensions, and I'd like to actually go and have a look at a couple.
No, that would actually be great to check it out.
And there are a couple of things on the store that I wanted to point out that I just discovered today. I mean, one of the things about, it's kind of true for a lot of MMOs, and Rift is absolutely no exception. It's totally stuffed full of content to the point that I'm pretty sure that there isn't a single person on the dev team that knows everything that's in the game. So I'm always discovering new things myself, which I really enjoy. And this morning I was looking through what got added to our store, and I discovered this whole new section called Trophies, which really got me excited. We should have a look at that.
Oh Lord.
Okay, so she completely...
Yeah, she falls apart, but she reforms back better than ever.
I'm not sure that's how the laws of physics work, guys.
And
it's
Talara
just
would bend
Talara and
physics however we
physics.
want.
Best thing ever about making games is you get to make the rules of physics. The laws of physics, I should say.
I have to admit, I do love watching MMO fans bicker.
Oh,
And so
yes,
I'll let y'all bicker to your heart's content.
We're professionals at it.
Oh, for sure.
I count myself as an MMO player, and I do my fair share of bickering. I get honorary in the
late with
war
that
front.
interrupt.
So what is the particular topic of bickering?
That's a good. Well, right now it's the issue of copying, the issue of what's inspiration and what's ripping off, the issue
that all
of stuff
sorts.
like that.
Yes.
So I got to admit though, some of you have some good puns going on. I think the guy that said, "Dude, do you even rift?" might have been my favorite thus far. So thank you for that. I'm thankful.
Enjoyed that.
Yes, I do appreciate the
odd one.
the cleverness there.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like if you enjoy it, then what does it matter? And I will say unabashedly that Rift is my game of choice. I play it for fun as well. People can believe that or not, and I really don't care. I'll just continue playing.
It's getting a little hectic, so we're gonna take her down.
One of the things when Rift first came out that you were lauded for is, hey, you released an MMO that seemed relatively feature complete and functioned, and people could log into at
Yep.
launch. Do you think we've reached the stage? I mean, as a PC gamer, I see this all the time, sort of this apologistic stance from certain people. It's like, well, it's still the first month, it's still the first few weeks. Let them iron out the kinks. You can't expect the game to be complete when you can buy it.
No.
And so I'm kind of curious do you think even with MMOs we've had so much time, since the early days of the genre where, should we be expecting games like this to, obviously there are going to be problems. You're a work in progress, right? But, what is the expectation now when a game first comes out like this?
Well, again, all I can speak to really is personally. My expectation is if I buy a game that claims to be a game I can play, it should freaking well be finished. It's software, and software is really, really complicated, and stuff does go wrong. I'm not going to pretend that we have been completely problem-free. We have certainly had some issues, but on the whole, we do pride ourselves in putting stuff out there when we believe it is done and finished. And if something goes wrong, we make sure we correct it as fast as we humanly can.
Right.
And if it in fact then ends up impacting our players in a negative way for any kind of extensive period of time, we make sure we make it right with our players as well. We've done that in the past. I mean, even in situations where it's not strictly speaking our fault. We had a really terrible lag problem about about 2 months ago, and it turned out to be some switching station somewhere that we had absolutely no control over. But we did get it did get cleaned up, and we made sure that all of the people that lost out during that particular period got compensated. I can't remember what it was we gave them that time. So yes, it should be polished, yes, it should be finished. I think this sort of like here's a half-done game, help us debug it, is not what I want to see.
Bok Chewy saying people could log into launch. Lol. But I mean, obviously, a lot of times too, you can only speak from your own experience. I mean, one of the things that struck me about Rift early on was, of course, hey, I can play. I'm not in
Yeah.
queues. I'm not in,
Shiny.
and I didn't feel like, oh,
We did have
everything.
some queues for a while, but we opened up more servers and got that taken care of. But I mean, we did. I don't know. I remember it being a pretty clean launch myself.
So, Simon, I think you were talking about earlier about some of the new things we have in the store.
Oh, I just wanted to point out, this is really more for people who are already familiar with Rift, just because they'll know a bit more what I'm talking about. So the trophies section, I discovered this today. So a lot of our achievements, some of them, as players will know, are amazingly difficult to actually achieve. And they come with some fun little gifts. And one of the things that was always a bit demoralizing if you were starting an alt was that, hey, that achievement that I got that gave me that really cool toy I love playing with, or that really great companion, Snogs, for instance, my favorite
Or some
companion.
nice mounts.
Awesome, nice mounts. Yeah, I hate the fact that I have to do that whole achievement again. What this section of the store does is it checks, and if you have actually completed that achievement on one of your characters, you can come here and for a very small, that's about $1, a very small amount of money, you can buy that reward for all of your alts. These are account-bound items, so you can buy it on the character that completed the achievement and mail it to your alt. Even that one, which is a teleport into Meridian, so that's going to be interesting for any Guardians out there.
So no spending time having to convince a group of people to go out and run a raid for you to get Conqueror just so you can get the mount for an old instance.
That's true. So if you've done it on one of your characters, you can now have the reward on all of your characters, which I think is pretty good fun. Let's go have a look at a dimension. We can talk about dimensions. I
Okay.
think they're just do you have?
Let's see, do I have any? Or can we buy some off the store, possibly?
Yeah, just buy a couple of items off the store. Just so the first thing we'll do, we'll just go into a blank dimension and just show you the tools, and then we'll go and look at some of the ones that other people have made. I've well, you're on Greybriar here.
Yes.
I have absolutely no idea
so let's look at some
if
of
there
the
are any good
nice
dimensions
public.
on Greybriar. Well, go to the highest ranked one. All of the dimensions have a ranking system. It's a little bit like Facebook likes, if you like, where if you think that the person that made the dimension did a good job and you visit it, you can hit like and bump them up in the rankings.
Nice dimension. Ooh,
So, oh, he's got,
jump puzzle.
yeah. So,
Well, if there's one thing I love in my MMOs,
it's a jump puzzle.
it's a jump puzzle.
Some of them are brutal in these. It's just like the owners of them seem to delight in making them as painful as possible. But a lot of people will actually run competitions and make it so that, hey, come and try out my jump puzzle in my dimension, and if you
Oh, they have like a little ship
succeed
here.
it,
Oh, look at the spaceship.
yeah.
Nice.
Spaceship slide.
Ooh, wow, complete with control room.
Oh, is this eye candy? Oh my god. Okay, this will be, yeah. So if you can find your way up, there'll almost certainly be a slide involved in this one. But as you can see, the flexibility of what you can make is
Just amazing. I love this robot.
quite incredible. So all of these are just like objects that are around in the game in other situations that this person has used to make all of these amazing stuff. Oh, there you go. Up the stairs.
So has there been any thought, and now I'm just throwing something out there, but I look at something like what Cryptic has done with Star Trek Online and with Neverwinter. Has there ever been any thought to actually giving players even more tools, giving them tools to be able to like share, hey, I made this quest, why don't you check this out?
Has there been any thought? That's a very sort of like open-ended question. Yes, we think about and suggest all sorts of
Do
crazy
you
stuff.
lose sleep at night thinking about this,
All the time,
guys?
all the time. No, one of the things that is actually being worked on, and we are planning to do for Dimensions, in fact, is actually produce some yay slides.
Jeez.
That's awesome. is we're going to give players some tools that will allow them to create their own PvP warfronts inside Dimensions. There are a lot of things going on, so we keep getting sort of a little bit sidetracked, and I will admit that the progress on that has not been going as quickly as I'd like, but it is being worked on. We will deliver it as soon as it's working to the quality we want, but it'll be objects that players can place inside their dimensions that will make spawn points, set up various rules for PvP battle, and that will allow them to just make their own warfronts. And for people that don't know what a warfront is, that's the PvP areas where players can either compete, was it 10 versus 10, 20 versus 20? And so we're going to let players make some of those themselves. This one looks a little bit more classic.
Oh,
So, no, wow.
wow.
Oh,
Wow, with the
yeah,
logo.
Rift.
With the floating rocks. I love
Just
it.
in case you didn't know where
What
you were.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk about free to play. This is coming up a lot right now in the chat, which is again, the conversation around, is this really free to play?
Free
Can
to
I
play,
have fun
buy to
without
play?
spending
Yes,
money
yes,
and
yes.
so on and so forth? I mean, obviously you guys come from a particular point of view. This is the game you make, but kind of lay out, for me, sort of how the free to play operation works here.
So that is, we absolutely, you can play free and have fun and have access to all of the content for free. That has been our mantra right from the beginning. We didn't want to put content behind paywalls because MMOs, and Rift especially, is about playing with friends and lots of other people, and if you've got half the people able to go to a place and the other half not able to go to the place, that really sort of defeats that purpose. Having said that, we put a lot of things on the store that will be convenience items. There's all of the vanity items are available on the store. Anything that's not necessary to play, we put on the store for purchase. There are the Storm Legion souls, for instance. We considered that they were not necessary to play. You still have 8 souls to build your character with, so the 4 new souls that came with Storm Legion, obviously if you have Storm Legion, you have them, but if you're a completely fresh player, those you would have to purchase if you wanted to use those particular souls, but you don't need to. But any actual content, any quests, any dungeons, any raids, any zones, all of that stuff is all 100% free. In fact, all of the instances that just came in 2.4, all free, no restrictions at all. So, yes.
So slides is apparently a very common theme
People
in
love
Dimensions.
People love them. I love them. They're fun.
Yeah.
This was something we didn't even really realize that, it was gameplay that players figured out that they could put in right now. So we are looking at what little toys can we put in there that will give players even more tools to make even more types of gameplay. But yes, slides are definitely, there was some pretty amazing ones. I mean, both of those were pretty great. You will find also just the classic kind of like, let's make something that just looks great. People will use them as their guild halls. There are guild dimensions that guilds can get together and purchase that are even bigger. Some of them are really quite massive.
Have you had to take anything down? Has there been anything that has been
Inappropriate? I have not
personally.
not on live. I've never seen anything inappropriate. Although now I know that somebody's going to like Skype me or tell me something that is going to make my eyes bleed.
Okay, I'm telling everybody out there now, go and make your penis
There was-
dimension
no,
right now.
There was one that Guild put together on PTS that was quite jaw-dropping. Do you remember that?
yes.
That was unbelievable. Yeah.
Yes, they put at least a few days worth of effort into that one.
And it was, let's say, X-rated.
Oh dear.
But hey, online experience may change during play.
It's funny.
Even though we are teen rated.
Now I'm suddenly going to talk about another game for a minute, but I was surprised because Final Fantasy XIV is rated T, but there's actually a lot of language in that game that surprised me, and I'm surprised they can get away with saying so many of those words in that game without. I mean, it's not offensive, but I was surprised.
Yeah. Well,
So
I
yeah,
don't know that
get out there,
specific
get out there in the Dimensions. do what you can to get yourself kicked out. Not that you heard it from me.
You are so in trouble now.
I know. I'm really sorry. Also,
There are plenty of...
once you
I
make
won't go there.
it, email me pictures
Yes,
of the dimension,
screenshot or
Kevin
it
V at
didn't exist.
GameSpot.com. I want to see how much you can get away with before they take away your dimension.
Looks like a Stargate. We have run some dimension competitions, and people have made some incredible things.
I don't think you're getting through that doorway on your mount, though.
No. Have to disassemble my horse.
And a lot of it is, it's important to point out that all of this is created by the Dimensioneer, as they call themselves. It's like all of the walls here. This building didn't exist. The entire thing was made. I mean,
Dimensioneers. So this is like a Disney Imagineer.
Oh, go to Better Homes and Dimensions, and you'll see some amazing, amazing things. There are actually several websites. That's the only one I can bring to mind. But I'm sure
Better Homes and Dimensions, a fan-made website.
fan-made website of just jaw-dropping stuff. I love it when they make this.
Yes, I wish I could pick up one of the pool cues and just go.
Right, yeah. Well, we'll see. We are going to be looking at trying to make some more dynamic
A bowling
objects.
alley.
Bowling
Nice.
alley. Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, players are endlessly imaginable, and it will come up with some awesome things.
So what other questions have we got now?
Well,
Hit me with a hard one that I can't answer.
I didn't know, people are, hoping to open up a Bed Bath and Dimensions. So good luck with that. So, obviously, we're gonna have to wrap up a little soon. But I'm kind of curious to so run me down now, because my brain's, I can't handle too much information at one time. Mm-hmm. So why don't you run me down now with 2.4? Everything that you can think of. Everything that you can think of.
I'm going to caveat right away with I will forget something.
So that I can forget it in 5 minutes.
Yeah. So a 2-man Chronicle, a 5-man dungeon, 2 20-man raids, although one of them is not available until you've beaten, at least for 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks out.
Holding the really hard one back for a couple of weeks. More stuff on the shop than I can shake a stick at. Just a lot of stuff there. We made Instant Adventures cross-server. What else did we add? I know there's more stuff than that.
Oh, we added a whole bunch of new crafting.
That's right. There's a whole bunch of new items. There's a whole new tier of PvP items, I believe.
Can you slap an enemy with a fish? Is that a new thing?
With a fish.
Captain Judaism is wondering if you can...
No, Captain Judaism, I think, has probably played Lord of the Rings, I'm thinking.
Could be.
He used to be able to slap people with a fish in Lord of the Rings.
Can I slap people with anything?
Yeah. Shana Tova, incidentally, to Captain Judaism there. That's about it. I'm sure I forgot
hairstyles. You forgot hairstyles.
I forgot hairstyles. Yeah,
Jeez.
I told you I'd forget
And
something.
new skin
Hairstyles
tones.
and skin tones. You get all of these in one package.
I'm thinking that she may want to cover up if she wants to have the best chance of survival in this world. I don't know.
Full armor is probably going to help.
Yeah, definitely. We added a lot more vanity outfits, right? Although we should, costumes we should call them.
Students go back to school.
Yeah, that's just in time for back to school.
Or get schooled if you're on a PvP server.
Oh ha. So
some Garanimal shirts and khaki pants for.
There's one. Yeah, I mean, you'll see some people doing some fun things. We have a system in the game where you can make your weapon look like something else. You can buy a costume item for your weapon and then use this item to make your weapon always look like that. So I've seen people chasing each other around with rolling pins and flowers and various other fun stuff. It's quite disconcerting in a war front being chased with some guy with a bowling hat and a pair of underpants and a bowling pin.
So
we let you do
I'm
it.
in. Now, before we finish up, beyond 2.4, what is the future of Rift? What do you got on the works? What are you doing for me?
We have some pretty long-term plans. I mean, we go all the way up to 3.0, which is getting on for a year away from now. Much further than that, and that ties our hands too much, and we like to be flexible and be able to react to player feedback, so we plan out about a year. In the immediate future, 2.4.1 we call it internally, which is Autumn Harvest is coming out, which has some amazing masks and various other fun stuff, plus quite a lot more actual gameplay content. That is, I forgot exactly when that's coming, and I'm sure I'm probably not actually supposed to say a specific date, but soon. And then 2.5 is right around the corner after that, and so we have a lot of really big updates planned, and 3.0 that I just mentioned is basically our next expansion, and as a lot of people will already know, that is when we're going to truly first go to one of the planes. We have some of the instances and raids have taken place in the planes, but they've been a very confined part of that plane. So we have been to the plane of death, and the plane of earth, in fact, is where the Planebreaker Bastion, which is the raid that's coming out in a couple of weeks, takes place. But 3.0 is going to be the plane of water, which, as I mentioned earlier, is also the plane of dreams and madness. So in fact, you'll start seeing some foreshadowing of that happening quite soon. In fact, one of the things that's coming in 2.5 is a whole lot of underwater content off the coast of Ember Isle, which is going to serve two purposes. It's pretty awesome, it's fun, and we really want to see how much players that have been requesting vociferously for more underwater content, do they really mean what they say? So here's some. Let's see if you play it. And that will help us determine how much of 3.0 actually takes place underwater. So, but we have a lot of flexibility with that. So there you go. There's a lot of stuff coming.
Well, gentlemen, a lot of stuff going on with Rift, obviously. If people are interested, what is the website that they can go to where they can obviously go and download Rift and create an account and play for free?
Riftgame.com.
That's easy. Riftgame.com. Don't go to Rift.com. You don't know what awfulness is going to be there.
I don't know. You should try it.
I'm not gonna poison a work computer with. I mean, we just don't know. But thank you so much, Larry and Simon. You're great. Always. I got your names right?
You did.
Because I told you, like, my mind's a sieve today. It really is. But thank you for coming by, showing us
You're welcome.
Rift 2.4 live today.
I love to talk about Rift.
Today. Well, I would hope so.
Yep.
So thanks to everybody out there as well.
Thank you.
Make sure to stay on GameSpot. We got lots of stuff going on. And I guess we will see you around. Thanks for joining.